Zimbabwe cash crisis worse. Talking about Venezuela once again.
Systemic important banks. They removed the 1,000 thing right there called monetary Hey there, hope all is well. Back at you today with some RT news updates. And as you can tell in today's title, we're going to be talking about the millennials, of course. So today I was combing through the news and I came across a lot of articles labeled millennials. So there's millennials about their jobs, millennials not saving enough, millennials not expecting Social Security, millennials. And so it really got me to think about what is all this push to get millennials' attention for. And I have a couple thoughts I want to share with you, and more importantly, why I believe that the millennials should not be expecting any type of retirement payout whatsoever, based upon the conditions we're currently in now, where there are problems coming with the baby boomers and their expectation for receiving the promises that were given to them in the form of pensions as well as any other form of retirement vehicles, predominantly Social Security. And so as always, if you're new to RTD, I want to encourage you to click the subscribe button along with the notification tab to be informed of future updates as well as live streams. Also join me on Twitter where I share posts throughout the day on various subject matters dealing with our monetary system as well as whatever's happening in the news that I can't get to via video. Make sure you click the button down below to be notified when things are posted. So today I have about 4, maybe 5 articles I want to share with you, all labeled millennials, and it covers different angles as to which the mainstream media seems to be vying for the attention of millennials. Is that our financial system, in my opinion, is in need of more funds, and what generation to get it from other than the current workforce in the form of the millennials as well as those that come after them. So I think it's a part of this big push to really get millennials to save more so that they can keep the system afloat even more so, because if you have the retiring age generation, which are the baby boomers, getting ready to pack it up and call it quits and start withdrawing from the stock market as well as bonds and whatnot, then you're going to need a generation to replace all that that's being taken out. And who's next in line? The millennial. So that plays into my thoughts as to why I don't believe that the millennials should really be expecting much anyway. But just give you an idea what's going on here. I'm going to thumb through the articles. Feel free to scroll through them for yourself to get a better idea of what's going on. But yeah, some very interesting titles that we're going to cover today. The very first one here says 43% of millennials plan to quit their job within 2 years. Give you a little bit what's going on here. It says entitled, selfish, untested, some of the common words that have been used to describe millennials. A new survey from Deloitte, the 2018 Millennial Survey, says that uneasy, pessimistic, and concerned are more accurate descriptions. The state of millennials. According to the survey, 43% of millennials plan to quit their job within 2 years. Only 28 plan to stay in their current role for more than 5 years. It says the survey is based on views of 10,455 millennials and 1,800 members of the Generation Z question across 36 countries. It says and millennials include the study were born between 1983 and December 1994. It says key findings. Among the findings in the report, here are a few highlights. It says business ethics. Next one, diversity and flexibility are key to loyalty. It says young workers feel unprepared. Next one here says millennials will depend on Social Security in retirement just like their parents. From that statement alone lets me know that most of the retirees currently now and those entering retirement aren't really counting on much when it comes to Social Security. So millennials are definitely screwed. Give you an idea what's going on. It says young workers today in poll after poll say they believe Social Security will run dry before they hit retirement and are not counting on the Great Depression era public pension program to finance the last thirds of their lives. Good. Said even though the belief may not be true, they're not compensating by actually increasing their own savings. This means many will end up like their parents, completely reliant on monthly checks. And here's the thing, once again, it's a misleading statement because it says many will end up like their parents. And it's good to say not all, but a good chunk of the population heading into retirement, if not a smaller fraction, might have actually set aside what they thought might have been a good amount for retirement. Hence the idea that what is an ideal amount to set aside when you don't know how long you're going to live or the market conditions as to whether or not your portfolios will even retain the nominal amount that's in there. Hence what happened with the Great Recession, where a lot of people were either cut in half or wiped out altogether. Go on more. It says the truth about Social Security. Politicians and activists have for years said Social Security will run out of money in the near future. This paints a misleading picture of the program's finances. It says while Social Security trust funds are expected to run dry in 2034, payroll taxes will comprise 75% of retirees' expected benefits. Right, payroll taxes. Hence the idea of millennials switching jobs left and right. Shouldn't really be counting on payroll taxes in my opinion. So even if nothing is done to improve its outlook, there's no shortage of plans to do so. A millennial retiring in 2050, for instance, will still receive a monthly check. Very true, but the question is, what would it be worth? So more information there. It's all geared towards making millennials feel more comfortable on saving and putting more money in its financial system, which is crumbling from the very foundation. Next article.
Is the next recession?
Recession will be.
Will be a recession.
We're going to hit a recession.
The date of the next recession?
A U.S.-only recession typically lasts 8 to 10 months, but a lot of things about this particular one have not been typical. So
a crash is coming. Now, whether it's 6 months from now, 12 months, 36 months, no one knows.
I go to bed every night, I dream of another recession. If you know what to do, if you have the right plan to set up, you can make a lot of money from this.
"53% of millennials would go into credit card debt to attend a friend's wedding." That lets me know where their priorities are, where their responsibilities are about enjoying today, not necessarily thinking about the future. It gives some percentages here that might be worth noting. It says it's worth pointing out that 30% say going to a wedding when you can't afford to is definitely not worth it, and that significantly more young men, 64%, than young women seem to be okay with taking on debt in order to celebrate. That says enough in and of itself. Next one, opinion poll. Millennials haven't saved 2 years' salary. They've saved 1 week's worth. So here it gives a graph here. It says retirement savings, real versus ideal. And so here we have the median, those who are saving with the blue line. And then we have Fidelity's ideal savings ratio. So here we have a financial institution sharing information on what should be the amount people are setting aside. And of course, as you see, that's pretty high given the conditions that millennials live in. Give you an idea what's going on here. With the stagnant wages, paying the rent, saving up for a house down payment, making the car loan, paying off student loans, and all other essentials and frivolous expenses of day-to-day living, can your family really put aside $115,000 by the time you are 35 or $550,000 by the time you are 67? And once again, here we go with some numbers. $115,000 by the time you're 35 and then $550,000 by the time you're 67. So my question will be, when you turn 67, what would that $550,000 actually be able to purchase? Given the fact that sounds like a lot of money now, but 20, 30 years from now, it's good to say that $550,000 will not be a lot of money. Hence the idea that most houses right now, probably in California, cost well above $550,000. So I'm not quite sure how these numbers really correlate to the idea of saving enough and what the actual amount should be. And I dang sure don't trust other institutions on the actual amount to set aside, other than knowing that they are looking for millennials' support in the form of saving more money within their system. So more information there if you're interested for yourself. Very last one here. It says the lost generation of millennials born in the 1980s may never be as rich as their parents. Well, duh. Give you a little bit what's going on here. It says millennials face unique financial struggles compared with these previous generations. Millennials born in the 1980s are at risk of becoming a lost generation that accumulates less wealth during their lives, according to a new report by the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis. Very interesting. Coming of age during the Great Recession, the millennials cohort has faced high unemployment rates and an increased cost of living and mountains of debt. That says it all in and of itself. So that right there plays into the idea of how you factor in all these different article titles here. We have don't save enough. We have don't respect the Social Security. We have plan on quitting their jobs in 2 to 5 years, and all the other things that we mentioned here. Lets me know that it's very suspect and very questionable as to why and people would actually expect this system to maintain some sort of stability in the next 5 to even 10 years, nevertheless 20 or 30 years, because we are long past due, as I always talk about, for some type of market correction. And in my opinion, as well as a lot of my guests, as well as those that have shared thoughts on this Rethinking the Dollar platform, have stated that they see some type of hiccup coming sooner than later, and there will not be a traditional recovery like this Great Recession of 2008, which was papered over with 0% interest rates, quantitative easing, and all types of new unprecedented monetary policies. So in my opinion, it's good to say that the next market downturn will result in some complete collapse / restructuring of our entire monetary system. And I believe it has a lot to do with the idea of the Federal Reserve note, aka the dollar, not really being a part of that new system. And so that means that anything denominated in Federal Reserve notes will be reevaluated according to some other measurement or standard or monetary unit. And that means that all those people, especially that fidelity number of $550,000 socked away, will probably not really be there because it will probably be denominated in some other currency down the line. And so a lot of people say, whether it be some type of digital currency, some type of paperback currency, there will be a revaluation, of course. And that means all that purchasing power that is present now won't be there in the future. And so millennials, in my opinion, shouldn't be expecting much of a payout, because I myself am not. And so that's why I encourage people to begin thinking for themselves, become more proactive in your own investment strategies. And of course, this is all my opinion, but I think it'll work wonders for everyone who's open to trying something new and taking more of an alternative approach towards what has become unconventional monetary practices. So other than that, hope all is well. Share your thoughts down below. I would love to hear your thoughts on these. And also, join me tonight for an RTD live talk with Daniel and Maduri from Future Money Trends. We're going to be covering matters such as this, and so I would love to have you guys call in and share your thoughts. Other than that, enjoy your day.